Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome to Ordinary to Badass, episode number 192. In this episode, you're going to hear why Shana Francesca is so badass. Shana is a speaker, writer, and entrepreneur, and she's also the founder and lead designer at Consonant, a multidiscipline interior design and life design firm. She uses her voice to help her clients find their own empathy, resilience, and curiosity, and learn what is possible through life design. So if you missed last episode, it was a great episode. Go back and listen. But if you're short on time and you just want to get to the nitty gritty and find out why Shana is so badass, then stay tuned because you're going to hear it in a few. Before we get to it, I gotta ask, have you left a review yet? If you love this podcast as much as I do, of course, but if this podcast is of value to you, I would be so grateful if you headed on over to iTunes and left a 5-star rating and a review. Your feedback means the world to me, and then it also helps me find other badasses just like you. So with that, let's get to the episode. Welcome to Ordinary to Badass. Whether you're ordinary or badass, I am so glad you're here. Today, I'm going to share 3 reasons why Shana Francesca is so badass. The first reason is how she dealt with trauma. The second reason is the way she sets boundaries. And the third is how she takes a pause. So let's get into it. So let's talk about how Shana dealt with trauma. She said that she had an abusive childhood and lots of trauma. And really, for a long time, she didn't know how to process it. Like, it was just a matter of surviving. Each and every day, she had to figure out how to survive. And when Shana turned 15, she started asking questions. She said she questioned everything. And she did whatever she could do to find her voice. So she became a voracious reader and read everything she could get her hands on and would read all sorts of self-help books. Sometimes, if you don't have a leader or a mentor or any good role models in your life, books are the perfect place to turn because they can give you guidance that maybe the person in your life cannot. And right now there are so many dang resources, right? There's YouTube, there's Instagram, there's Facebook. And I'm not saying like every single person is somebody that you need to follow, but there are good leaders out there that are on those different platforms, and there's different ways you can connect, right? And I'm a fan of reading, so I would of course say get a book, but that doesn't work for everybody. So whatever works for you, do that and dive in. Look at other people who have gone through the same situations that you have and have come out the other side. Okay, what have they done? Did they go to counseling? Did they go to therapy? Did they start like investing in their passions? That's what Shana did, right? She said that she danced. She danced all the time. So between reading and dancing, that's what she would do. And she loved to dance. And she said she danced to find her voice. You can dance to find your voice. Or whatever it is that your outlet is. Like maybe writing or reading is your creative outlet. Or maybe singing is a thing for you. Or playing sports. Whatever your thing is, maybe it's running, right? Find that creative outlet or that outlet that makes you feel happy, that helps you find your voice. It gives you just a little bit more confidence or a little bit more swagger because you're doing that thing and it feels so stinking good. So if you're in a place where you're still in survival mode, that's fine. We all have to process things on our own timeline, right? Or do things at certain times, and maybe it doesn't feel safe for you to do it right now. But when you're out of survival mode or you get into a safer place, then how can you find your voice? Your voice is so important. Really, our voice, our intuition, our gut, that's our North Star. And if we get in touch with our voice, then I think so many other things will fall in place right behind it. So now I'm going to ask you, how can you find your voice? What is something that you're passionate about that you want to start doing? Maybe it's you want to start doing again, or you want to start doing more of your life, doing more of it in your life. You have a dance party, but maybe it's only once a month and you want to start having them daily or weekly. Okay, cool. Can you put it in your schedule now? Like maybe put it in your phone calendar right now. Okay, moving on. Number 2, the second reason why Shana Francesca is so badass is because she set boundaries. Shana said that she notices that a boundary has been crossed when somebody gets defensive. So if she gets defensive, one of her boundaries has been crossed. If a client gets defensive, one of their boundaries has been crossed. And she said something has been violated there. So typically that warrants a conversation. Shana said boundaries are creating space for who we are and what we are becoming. In order to create that space, though, for what you're becoming, you have to set boundaries. And if somebody is violating them, then you have the option to speak up. Like Shana said, you have the option to take up space. You get to take up space. You are a human being with feelings and emotions. There is nothing wrong with saying no or taking up space. That's what Shana said. I know boundaries can be a hard topic because it's like, as women, a lot of us want to do everything for everyone, and we find it so hard to say no, or we think we're going to be a bad person, or people are going to look at us weird or get mad at us for not doing something. But you also have a life, and you have a voice. And I know there's a saying, like, every time you say yes to someone else, you're saying no to yourself. Something that might help with this is like knowing your values, knowing the things that are important to you, and then setting boundaries around your values. Because if you're setting a boundary around something that's super important to you and you know it's one of your values, maybe you're not going to be as upset with yourself. Or at the very least, you're less likely to second guess yourself because you're like, wait, I made this decision and it aligned with my values. So like one of my values says family. And then I made time to spend with my family instead of hanging out with friends. So I had to say no, I couldn't do that thing. Well, if it aligns with my values, and I'm like, okay, I'm standing in my truth. That's okay. So then it's not going to bother as much, right? So now I want you to take a second and think about it. When's the last time you got defensive? Now, try to think, was there a boundary? Was there something that was violated that bothered you? Something that said that maybe shouldn't have been said? Or maybe it just triggered something in you, right? Like triggered something from childhood, because that's possible too. And if it's a spouse, maybe that's a conversation to have. To be like, oh, when you said this, it triggered this because of my childhood. Just so that they know, because they might not even be aware that certain things that they say to you completely triggers you. And it's a boundary violation for you, but they don't even know it. So if you don't have the conversation, how would they know? And it's also good to know, like, when other people are getting defensive, just to notice it. And just to see if it's somebody close to you, then maybe you can ask them or take some space and ask them. I don't know about you, but I don't like talking about that stuff in the heat of the moment because I'd just be like worked up. So it's better for me to talk about it a little bit later. But you know your significant other. But boundaries, definitely helpful. I thought what Shana had to say was super powerful. Again, if you or someone else gets defensive, a boundary has likely been violated. All right, number 3. The third reason why I thought Shana Francesca was so badass is because she takes a pause. So there were several different ways that Shana expressed this. She said she takes a pause for herself and meditates. She meditates for an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening. And that's just really self-care time. That's checking in with herself and finding her voice and getting in touch with what's important to her and what her intuition has to say about things. And then now she pauses before just jumping in with a new client. If people on her team worked with that client or worked with her when talking to that client, she checks in with them. Like, what do you think about this client? What are your thoughts? And then she checks in with herself. What do I think? How did I feel when I was around this person? Can I tell you I am so guilty of this? Like just jumping in and saying something before really thinking of my words. And that can get me in trouble sometimes. So just taking a pause before you make a decision. It doesn't necessarily have to be right away. I'm not saying to drag something out, but just take a pause, or you can check in with yourself. How does making this decision feel for me? How about going the other way? Like, how does it feel if I say yes? Or how does it feel if I say no? If you have a team that works around you, when you're making a decision, you can ask them, this is what I'm up against, or this is what I'm thinking. How does this feel? Or I'm thinking about hiring this person. If other people were in the hiring room with you, ask them what they thought of the person or for their feedback. So taking a pause before rushing into things can be super helpful. And Shana even said that meditation was just a huge part of this. And meditating every single day allowed her to really start taking the pause and to start noticing, checking in with herself, knowing how she's feeling. You just get in touch with your voice a bit more. And so maybe that was kind of a resounding thing in this episode, is getting in touch with your voice. Because I know we talked about that earlier, is how she dealt with trauma and found her voice. So how can you find your voice? How can you take a pause? Now, meditating 2 hours a day might be like, no way, no way could I do that. And that's okay. Nobody's asking you to do 2 hours a day. Like, start with 5 minutes a day. That's what I did for the longest time. I would just take 5 minutes, 10 minutes for a couple of years. And I couldn't really see myself going beyond that. Right? So start where you are. Even if it has to start with 1 minute. Do 1 minute and don't feel guilty about it. Taking just a couple minutes a day to meditate and to check in with yourself and check in with how you're feeling. It is amazing what that can do for you. Or even do like morning pages where you just get out a journal and you just write. Like do a complete brain dump the first, say, 30 minutes of your morning. And it just helps you to get out of your head and to like understand what you're feeling, to express what you're feeling and let that be okay. Or not okay. Okay, so quick recap. 3 reasons why Shana Francesca is so badass. 1, how she dealt with trauma. 2, how she set boundaries. And 3rd, how she takes a pause. So if you liked Shana's episode or any of the recap points here, which were based on points that Shana made, I would love for you to implement it into your life. Try one little thing and see how you can take action on it, how you can put it into your life. And maybe after doing it for a month, okay, tweak it. Do what works for you, right? You don't have to do things the exact same way. I recommend it first, starting out doing what like the guests recommend on the show, right? Try that, see if it works, and give it enough time to see if it really works or not. So say you try it for a month and you're like, this kind of works, but something feels off. Okay, tweak it a little bit. And then keep tweaking it just a little bit if you need to until you find what's comfortable for you. But this saves us how much time? If you can get advice from a guest and then tweak it to work for you, that saves you your own time as trying to figure it all out for yourself. And then, of course, take a screenshot of the episode, throw it in your Instagram stories, and tag Shana Francesca at Shana_Francesca_, and me at Ordinary to Badass. Let us know what your takeaway was, or what the thing you implemented was, and how it worked. All right, with that, we'll end our show. To all the badass women out there staying in the arena, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, own it and get after it.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass and get the chance to be on a future Spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.